So here's a 10-minute routine that you can do every day to help get your hips moving and also keep them really strong. And the first thing to do is to have a lie down on your back. And then what we're going to do is just move our pelvis forward and back. So some little pelvic tilts, we call that. So light feet, and we're just touching the lower back towards the mat and then tipping the pelvis the other way. The movement's really small, but what we want to do is think about initiating the movement from the abdominals. So we're really asking our abdominals to help us move our pelvis, just tipped one way and tipped the other. These are the deep stabilizing muscles that are going to help us. And also warm up a little gently as we get into our quick 10-minute routine. Try and keep your feet really light. That's going to encourage your abdominals to do this work for you. So remember, it's very small. Try and make the movement nice and smooth. And then come back to where you feel nice and even through the pelvis. Next, we're going to lift one leg up to tabletop and place it back down, and then the other. So we're just marching on the spot. Again, using our abdominals to keep our pelvis steady, and a little bit of work through the front of the hip here as we lift our legs up. We keep the bend of the knee the same, so the angle stays the same to challenge our abdominals and keeping our pelvis steady. So where we were tilting the pelvis before, we just watch that as we lift the knee, we don't tip the pelvis towards us. So we're really getting a fold at the front of the hip. If that's feeling fairly easy for you, we can lift both legs up and do it this way. So you're just tapping one toe down at a time. So we want to do about 10 like this now, or you can always do the single leg. So you just make your adjustments depending on how you feel day to day and how you progress. Both are really good. And then we just pop one foot down and then the other. The next move, we're going to place our hands down on the mat and we're going to lift our hips up into a bridge. So tilt the pelvis like we practiced, and then you just lift your hips up as you press your feet down into the mat, and you can press your arms down as well and your feet down as your hips lift up. So you're opening the front of the hip, and we're really activating our glutes, which are really important in the whole function of our hips working well. And then just lay your body back down on the mat. So I just think of rolling my spine all the way back down. Tilt the pelvis again, pressing into your feet as you float the hips up. And of course, you're still using your abdominals. You still feel like your pubic bone is reaching to your belly button. So you've got this work at the front, should feel work on the back of the legs and the glutes, and then roll back down. So we're going to do a few more like this. Lifting the hips up to feel my glutes. Sometimes I think of pressing down through the center of my heel a little bit more, then my glutes start working a bit more. That's what we want here. If you don't feel like you can go up all the way where your shoulders are in line, like a straight line from your shoulder to your knee, it doesn't matter. Just go up as high as you can. And then we'll just challenge ourselves a little bit now. So lift the hips up. So I'm making sure both sides are working. My hips are level. Sometimes I glance and have a look. And then I'm just going to let my hips drop down towards the mat and then just push straight back up. So I let go of the squeeze and let my hips drop down, and then squeeze and use my glutes to push my hips back up. So a little softly down, push back up. And we've just got 4 more of these. Keep your feet on the ground. 1, feeling my hamstrings now too. 2, 3, and 4. Good work. And then lay your body all the way back down. Nicely done. The next one, we roll over and we're going to be on our side. So when we're on our side, these exercises are fantastic for our outer hip. You can lay down, you can prop your head up like this, or you can lay down, you can put a pillow under your head, whatever feels comfy. The bottom leg's going to stay bent and our top leg reaches out. Now I want you to think of stretching that leg out long, 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 so that you sort of draw that hip this way, so that that hip bone is right on top of the underneath one, and it almost feels like there's a little mouse hole on the underside of your waist. This hand, you can just put it here to keep steady, or you can pop it down in front. Then what I'm going to do is just take my leg forward a little bit, tiny bit, and I'm going to go down and up, down and up. I just want to do 10 like this. That's 3, 4, 5. So all the time I'm thinking long. Good. You don't have to go up high either, all right? And then I want you to bend the knee. So you're making a crease here at the front and then push the leg back, reaching the heel back to the back corner of your mat, keeping long in the waist and thinking of the hip bone going forward. So bend and push, fold, stick your bottom out there, push. It all feels like you stick your bottom out to stay steady. Bend, push. So I'm keeping my leg up, taking it back as much as I can without letting my whole hip go back with me, right? So when my heel reaches back, I'm thinking of my hip bone reaching forward. And just one more. And back and down. All right, so hopefully you felt that through here. And then we do the other side. Whenever we change positions in my classes, I always just give a little moment to adjust, because it's in the setup. If you get your alignment right, then you're really going to feel it. So if you felt that, you're probably in the right position. So we're going to lengthen. I'm just going to take the legs slightly forward. I'm just down and up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all. And then fold and straight back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reach it back, 6, 7. It's a bit of work to keep the pelvis steady. And last one, and back and down. Good. Help yourself up. And the next thing you're going to do is sit up on your chair. So we're going to stretch out the hips that we've just worked. So sitting up on a chair, we're going into our figure 4 stretch. So just cross your legs, ankle over your knee like this. You don't need to push that knee down, just let it flop open as much as you can. And then I want you to sit up nice and tall. If you feel like you could go into a deeper stretch, you can tip your body a little bit forward. But when you tip, try not to round, stay up with the chest and just lift, tip your spine forward. Good, and the other side, ankle over knee, adjust. Sometimes when we first do this, we're a little bit crooked, and then I sort of realign and get myself sitting square on my chair again. And it is perfectly normal to feel like one side is much tighter than the other. That's what I see most people, and me included. A little tip forward if you want to. This is a nice stretch. And backing up. Now our last thing to do to finish you off is a really functional movement. So I'm going to have my feet under my knees, so ankles lined up underneath my knee, and then I'm going to reach my arms forward. So we're just going to stand up, and I want you to tip your body forward and feel your feet pressing down. So feel a bit of energy into the sole of your foot right here, and then just hinge forward so that you're off the chair, and then you can stand up. And then to go back, we're just going to send the hips back. Where's that chair? Find it there and come back and up. So your arms are going to be a bit like a lever for you. You tip forward with a nice flat back. Notice your feet on the ground. Take yourself forward a little bit more and then use the strength of your legs to stand up. Send the hips back. Okay, a couple more. Arms start out in front. You go forward. You're off your chair, standing up. It's really good to practice this up and down, not having to use our arms to push ourselves up. And also just that the balance, where our weight goes to get the most strength out of our legs. First few times you do it, you feel a bit wonky, like, am I going to land on that chair? So you can always sort of put your hand there. But once you practice it, it's a lot easier. And then last one, tip forward, stand up. And that's us done for today. Well done.